All right, you've got to forget everything you know about those small, incremental tech updates because 2025, it isn't just another year. It's what we're calling a tipping point. This is the year where a whole decade's worth of these massive, ambitious promises, from AI to a totally connected world, they finally slam into the hard reality of actually making it all work.
So you might be asking yourself, is 2025 really any different? Is it just business as usual for the tech world? Another iPhone, another app, another little software update?
Well, the answer is a big, definitive no. Not even close. You see, 2025 is all about this huge strategic realignment. It's that moment where all the ambitious roadmaps and presentations finally collide with the real world. And that collision, it's being forced by one thing more than anything else: the absolutely explosive, all-consuming demand for artificial intelligence. Okay, so to really get our heads around this shift, we have to start right at the foundation. I'm talking about the physical hardware itself. We're diving into the world of silicon chips, where a whole new kind of global war is being fought as we speak. You see, the race for the next generation of chips, we're talking the 2-nanometer node. It's not about flashy press releases anymore. Nope. It's all about brutal, nitty-gritty execution. For the current leader, TSMC, it's a game of global strategy. For Samsung, it's this desperate fight to perfect their new gate-all-around process, which is a totally new way to build a transistor, by the way, and actually get it to work consistently. And then you've got Intel, the comeback kid, right? For them, the challenge isn't just making their new process work. It's convincing major customers to bet their entire future on it. High stakes.
And this quote right here, it just captures this new reality perfectly. It's not about who has the slickest PowerPoint presentation anymore. Leadership, right now, is defined by one thing: who can reliably churn out these mind-bogglingly complex chips at a massive global scale.
But look, this battle for silicon isn't just about the processors, the brains of the whole operation. The memory chips, the ones that have to feed those brains an insane amount of data, they're going through their own massive AI-driven revolution. So get this, in 2025, prices for some of these key memory components more than doubled. Just poof. And the reason is pretty simple. AI systems are incredibly thirsty for memory, way more than traditional servers. This isn't the usual up and down boom and bust cycle we've seen in the memory market for decades. No, this is a fundamental reshaping of the entire market, where AI's needs get top priority, period. Okay, so we've got the hardware foundation sorted. Now let's move up one level to the intelligence layer, the brains. Because in 2025, AI is making a huge leap. It's evolving from a tool that just answers your questions to one that actually takes action. And there's a key term you need to know here: agentic AI. This is the next big step. So think of it less like a fancy search engine and more like a true digital assistant, one that can, on its own, go book your flight, file your expense report, or even manage a whole project workflow with minimal help from you. It's AI that does stuff. But it's not just what the AI does, it's where it does it. That's also changing in a big way. For years, right, all the heavy-duty AI thinking happened way out there in the cloud. Well, now we're seeing a massive shift to something called edge AI. And all that means is that the processing power is moving directly onto your device, your phone, your car, a sensor on a factory floor. And the benefits? They're huge. You get instant responses, your private data stays right there with you, and the whole system just becomes way more reliable. All right, so we have the foundation, the hardware, and we have the brains, the AI. Let's talk about the nervous system of this whole new paradigm, that vast interconnected web of devices we call the Internet of Things, or IoT. I mean, the sheer scale of this is just hard to wrap your head around. By the end of 2025, we're looking at over 17 billion active IoT devices online. That's more than 2 devices for every single person on Earth. Just think of them as the digital eyes, ears, and hands of our entire planet. And what do all of these billions of devices create? Oh, just a little bit of data. A mind-boggling 90 zettabytes of it, every single year. That's a 90 with 21 zeros after it. Trying to send all of that up to the cloud? It's just not going to happen. It's physically and economically impossible. But this brings us to a really critical question, a huge challenge. Building, powering, and then eventually throwing away billions and billions of battery-powered devices, well, that creates a massive environmental problem. So how do we build this incredible connected planet without literally drowning ourselves in electronic waste?
Well, one incredible potential answer comes from projects like Fart. What they're doing is pretty genius. They're developing battery-less IoT nodes that can harvest energy right from the light in a room, just like one of those old solar calculators. They're using printed electronics to create these tiny, sticker-like sensors that could one day cost as little as a single cent each. This could make a truly sustainable, massive IoT actually possible. So let's recap. We've got the hardware foundation, we've got the AI brains, and we've got the IoT nerves. Now let's see how this whole system of systems comes together to tackle real-world problems and really to remake our world from the ground up. And we're talking about an immense economic scale here, over $1 trillion. But here's the interesting part. While all the consumer gadgets, the flashy stuff, get all the headlines, the real revolution, it's happening behind the scenes in heavy industry, in manufacturing, and in our critical infrastructure. And what better place to start than with one of humanity's oldest, most essential industries, agriculture? Believe me, the farm of 2025 looks nothing like the farm of just a decade ago. Just take a look at these adoption rates. This isn't some far-off sci-fi fantasy. This is what's happening on the ground right now. We've got IoT sensors checking soil moisture, drones scouting for disease from above, AI predicting crop yields, and autonomous tractors out there planting seeds. It's all about one thing, using data to apply resources, water, fertilizer, with surgical precision. The result? Higher yields and way less waste. Okay, so from feeding the world, let's move on to powering it. Because this very same convergence of tech is now completely shaking up our energy grids. It's decentralizing them, shifting power, and I mean that quite literally, away from a handful of big utilities and putting it directly into the hands of communities. Here's the basic idea of how it works. Let's say your solar panels generate more power than you need. A blockchain then creates a super secure, tamper-proof record of that extra energy. Your neighbor, who needs a little juice, can then buy that power directly from you, and the whole thing happens automatically through a smart contract. What you end up with is a local grid that's more resilient, more efficient, and way more democratic. But, and there's always a but, as this powerful new tech paradigm gets woven deeper and deeper into our critical infrastructure, we're talking our food supply, our power grids, it opens up a whole new can of worms, a totally new set of challenges. The next big frontier isn't about the technology itself, it's about governance. And right now, governments are absolutely scrambling to keep up. Over in Europe, you've got directives like NIS2 that are literally putting corporate boards on the hook for cyber attacks, demanding they report incidents within 24 hours. Meanwhile, in the US, new acts are setting minimum security standards for any device that connects to government systems. The old Silicon Valley motto of move fast and break things? Yeah, that's over. Accountability is the new name of the game. And all of this leaves us with one final and maybe the most crucial question of all. We have proven we can build this incredible world of intelligent, autonomous systems that can farm our fields and run our cities. But the real question is, are we, as a society, truly ready to govern?